what she said.
In the spirit of open, accessible and transparent government and to ensure this meeting is open to the public, this council meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the Murrumbidgee Council Facebook page. A recording will also be placed on Council's website following the meeting. Good afternoon everybody and welcome to Murrumbidgee Council's October meeting. I'll ask for any apologies. Everybody's here. We'll move to agenda topic number 4, the confirmation of minutes. Somebody like to move to the minutes of the ordinary council meeting on the 28th of September 2021. Be confirmed. Move Councillor Smith, second Councillor Gilbert. Those in favour, please say aye. That's against. Carried. Thank you. I will remind you all of your pecuniary interest declarations before we go any further. No? Okay. No notices of rescission, no notices of motions. So I will move to item number 1, which is the mayoral report. It is fast approaching the end of the year. The year has gone incredibly quickly. The agricultural production is looking amazing, and it's we can only hope that it produces the end product that it is promising. It's great. It's encouraging to see our water storages and waterways being replenished, and a level of certainty around our irrigation allocations, which is great for not only now but moving forward. With the amazing growth that is around, there's very real issues of bushfire. Our bushfire mitigation is indeed important to us. Keeping our communities safe is a two-way responsibility, and it's our hope that the townspeople and landowners work collaboratively to ensure that their infrastructure, their homes, their sheds and machinery are all housed appropriately and the surrounds are kept as low as possible. Access to property in our road network will enable us to be fire ready, but we need to encourage our neighbours and our neighbouring landholders to make sure that access is available. Council's working hard to ensure our swimming pools are ready to open in November. I encourage everybody to use these pool facilities. The weather looks promising, and being free to the public, it's a very generous gesture of council. I encourage you to get everybody to use the facilities as much as possible. Our COVID journey continues to be a very real challenge. We have had 3 fragment COVID readings in the sewerage in Murrumbidgee, and as of yesterday, we have a positive case in Murrumbidgee too. It's challenging to get the required testing resources, but hopefully they will be in place not only yesterday and today, but moving forward. And our continued vigilance around this with our basic hygiene attempts, and also encouraging people to be vaccinated. And if you are unwell, do not immerse yourself in the general public. As of the 20th of October, our local government area had 88.1% of first vaccinations and 70.5% of people fully vaccinated. It's my hope that that increases, especially given the recent positive case. Our major projects appear mobile once more, with the re-inclusion of Murrumbidgee LGA in the water bubble. Ben Cubbon Avenue is progressing. We received very welcome news this week regarding 2 allocations of road funding for Calrose Road and Four Corners Road, both in the Colleen Eberly area of our LGA. I've attended many meetings in the last month, most of them online, and it's my wish in 2022 that is not a common occurrence. It's very difficult having meeting after meeting and being able to concentrate and retain what you need to retain. So the water issue continues to be front and centre. I spent Friday afternoon with Melinda Pavey, Justin Clancy, Susan Lee, doing a roadshow of 3 of the proposed sites for the Sigland projects. They started down at Coonbrook, Paracuta, came to the heart of the year where the modernisation project is going to have a new piece of infrastructure, and then we moved up to the Yanco offtake. It is being re-scoped, and she did give us the assurance that it will be a high level of community engagement there because there's a high level of angst around that proposed project. I've attended local emergency management committee meeting, and a Ramjo extraordinary board meeting with the presentation of our financial statements, Mid-Murray Zone Bushfire Management Committee for the risk management mapping, the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee, Ramjo COVID-19 update, and as we alluded to earlier, the Southwest Renewable Regional Reference Group meeting 1 yesterday. So while we have been hamstrung a little bit with the COVID lockdown and then moving out of it, there's still plenty going on. Are there any questions, please? If not, somebody like to move? Move Councillor Sherwood, seconded Councillor Turpin. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 2, please, General Manager's monthly report.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Just start off with the COVID-19 actions and response. We're adhering as much as we can. We're adhering to the public health order, to the letter, even to the point with the notice of positive in Murrumbidgee yesterday. We've taken it a step further and masked up the office down there, staff that had connections with even the remotest case, just because we knew where it was. They've gone ahead and have been tested and they're self-isolating. Hopefully they will get back negative. I told everybody to be negative yesterday, and hopefully they are, and they can come back to work tomorrow, but I'm not sure how long it will take. But they ramped up and they did accelerated testing again today. They had longer sessions at the local hospital there to try and get the backlog, because there was quite a few people. They ran out of appointments, and I just made mention to everybody, just turn up, get tested, because obviously you've got an issue and you need to be tested to be safe and to get on top of it. So did all of those things. The Councillor McRae mentioned two Mondays in a row, and then a follow-up test in Murrumbidgee, come back positive. Usually with those positive sewage samples, we're trying to find out where the case is. If, for instance, it had been a positive test on the first Monday and then not again, we could assume, rightly or wrongly, that it was a traveller. But when we get multiple ones, there's somebody within the township, and with the advent of a positive case, we can virtually say yes, there was somebody in the township. Darlington Point has been put on the radar for getting that testing done, so that will be done on Mondays with similar. There's an agreement with them where they really don't tell us unless it's positive, and they don't really tell us first if it's positive. They tell everybody else, but that's another issue that we will address with. But be rest assured that Darlington Point is being tested from now, just to see if there's any fragments in there. The only other thing with the COVID-19, as Murrumbidgee Council is looking at, is to have a vaccination policy overarching for COVID-19 vaccinations, and working through that, and hope to have something further on that for the Monday meeting, the November meeting. Sorry. Just the next was thinking right from the go when I put in the notice for annual leave that Queensland would be open, and the local government election possibly could have been, because they were talking of pushing it till March, with the confirmation of everything of 80 double vax and the fact that Queensland's not opening until probably a couple of days before Christmas. I requested I cancel that leave that I had for December, January, and push it further back into the new year, with the dates 26th of Feb, 6th of March, and the 9th of April, the 25th of April. that April is the Easter period. The 29th of February and March is my mother's birthday period. So just to put some rationale around those dates and why we're doing those things. So I'll be seeking the recommendation for that. Back when we had a list of cabins at the Darlington Point Caravan Park that we looked to auction. We only put forward some of them before. We held back a couple, not knowing about the auction or anything else like that. We've completed the first round of auctions and we're putting forward the other 4 cabins that were identified, cabin 9, 13, 17 and 19, to be surplus to council's requirements and put it up for online auction. As we did, same rationale as is where is to be removed by the purchaser and things like that. Attached to my report is the drug and alcohol policy that we've been working on for a little while and been through and taken through the Consolidated Committee and Council as reviewed, so this is to present it to Council to be adopted. Moving forward, the Dual Highway Task Force on the 9th of November is slated to be online. Annual leave days of 15th of November, Ranjo subcommittee and so on and so forth. The LGNSW special forum is only for an hour on the 29th of November for online. That is to vote in the board members virtually is the only thing that they've got. The annual leave I've put down for the 26th to the 6th of March is at the same time that the conference will be held for LGNSW in Sydney. Probably wouldn't have attended it anyway. So that's just to give a rationale around those dates. Any questions in relation to my report? Councillor Wells.
The cabins that were previously sold were auctioned in the caravan park. What sort of money did they bring, John?
Averaged around about $6,000 each, was it? Yep.
Were they purchased locally or they gone away?
Yeah.
Oh.
No?
Sorry, we don't know how the purchases were because it was an online event through Grace Online.
Any further questions of John, please? If not, would somebody like to move the General Manager's report, please? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Kirby. That the General Manager's report read A. Approve the annual leave requested by the General Manager for 1, the 26th of February 2022 to the 6th of March 2022 inclusive, and 2, the 9th of April 2022 to the 25th of April 2022 inclusive. B. Authorise private use of the Council's vehicle in the State of Queensland during the above annual leave. C. Authorise the General Manager to sell by auction cabins 9, 13, 17 and 19 from the Darlington Point Caravan Park as is and where is to be removed from their current location. D. Council adopt the drug and alcohol policy and procedure as presented. I'll put that. Recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 3, please.
Just formality, the council will be presented with the disclosure of returns by council to the Risk Improvement Committee and designated report, and these disclosures be placed on public display within the legislative requirements so that they'll go up onto the website as presented there on who they are, for when the return is, what the return is, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Is there any questions in relation to that application?
No, somebody like to move, please. Move Councillor Turbin, seconded Councillor Kirby. Resolved on the motion of Councillors Turbin and Kirby that the information contained within the disclosure of return by councillors, Audit Risk and Improvement Committee members and designated persons report be noted, and disclosures be made publicly available in accordance with the legislative requirements. I'll put that. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item 4, please.
Councillors, this is a request.
Vicky, would you like to come around here just for the camera and things?
Oh, of course, yeah. Got to get you good quality.
While you're talking, please.
Present to you the request for the signing of the statement by councillors and management of the general purpose financial statements and the special purpose financial statements, and also that following review, the going concern basis is appropriate for the 30th of June 21 financial statements with regards to going concern, and are fairly reflected in the notes and the information provided under separate cover was the set of draft financial statements, which are still to be presented to the New South Wales Audit Office. Once these statements are provided to them, they'll continue the audit process and continue there. I've noted within the report that the current financial statements indicate a net operating surplus of $2,622,000, which is inclusive of grants for capital works. The statement of financial position indicates net assets of $284,348,000. And the draft statement of cash flows indicates net cash received in operating activities of $9,177,000, with an overall decrease in cash after investing and financing activities of $4,768,000. Substantially, that's the usage of those grant funds that are held as liabilities.
Okay, are there any questions of Vicky, please? If not, would somebody like to move Vicky's report, please? Move Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Burrows. The resolution will read: 1. Following the review, the going concern basis is appropriate for the 30th of June 2021 financial statements, and the required disclosures within the statements with regards to going concern are fairly reflected within the applicable notes. 2. Council authorise the signing of the statement by councillors and management, by the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor, and endorse the signing by the General Manager and the Finance Manager as the responsible accounting officer in relation to the general purpose financial statements and the special purpose financial statements for the purpose of presentation to the New South Wales Audit Office. And 3, approval be granted to the Mayor and General Manager to authorise the submission of completed audited financial statements to the Office of Local Government upon receipt of the audit reports. I'll put that resolution. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 5, please.
Hi, it's Kelly, which is not here, but maybe Tom can speak about it. But it's just the council is aware of the floodplain risk management study that was completed and presented to council about a month ago in relation to the areas of concern, and just a recommendation that the report be adopted, and the recommendations adopted as covered within this report. Any questions? Councillor Wells?
I might have to be excused in this one a little bit. It's a huge document and there's nobody page numbers on this, but when it says the recommendations to be adopted, does that also include the ones that are in the forefront of the business paper? Discussion with the North Darlington Point levy, the temporary North Darlington Point levy, the incorporated spillway, and there's a few other ones in there that I put a submission in with regard to some of those, and I would like to see that council might take it upon themselves to put those into the actual recommendation. I know that a lot of them are in the report. It states that they would have to be funded by council, but in saying that, most of them, all except for the extension of the spillway in Hay Road, which would be wholly and solely council's responsibility. The other ones that I was looking to get some progression on, and I know it won't be short term, but it's been something that this council have been talking about for quite a number of years, includes other stakeholders and other government agencies, including the waterways and the RMS and national parks, who would also be part responsible for the inclusions that I was looking for and possibly would co-fund those developments.
So Councillor Wells, we could write letters to Transport for New South Wales for upgrades of the culverts as part of the recommendation. And as indicated in the report, that we liaise with our transport group for that upgrade.
I thought that was in there, and I just needed to some clarification on.
But I guess in your recommendation, you can put that table.
And it's the same as the one with the under the second bridge, the cleaning of some of the vegetation out of that, which would naturally come back to the national parks and waterways for approval. And council did some years ago have a approval to do a trial thinning, and that never eventuated. There's just those couple of things, two on the north side and one on this, and two on this side, that that would appease a lot of people, and I believe would allow better water flow around the bottleneck that we have here in town.
So, Councillor Wells, that is, if I go to the table, FM3 for spillway.
Yep.
And what was
The other one is under the bridge.
FM9, Causeway along Holmesay Road.
Yep. And
FM4.
And the other one, Phil, you were going to mention is the cooperation from national parks to thin that area, because that stops the flow from getting away.
That's the creek that runs under the second bridge.
Yeah, but
A lot of that vegetation, I believe, has grown since the 74 flood. And when we get a higher river, it only runs once we get environmental water, or the river reaches 5 metres.
But to clear it on the other side, there's a recommendation there to thin out, and there's a map drawn there, so it lets the water actually flow.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
At the moment, if you get a high river and you get some small debris fall up against the trees that are there, it creates a beaver wall, and it increases the height of the river here in front of town, and also on North Darlington Point, residents over there.
Yeah.
So just by cleaning that, it's going to allow the water to escape quicker. Probably it'll only be at a smaller, reduced height, but at least it gets away.
So Phil, that's FM7, is it?
That's right.
Okay. Councillor Bryce?
Thanks, Mayor Ruth. Table 53 on page 165 actually does have the recommendations, and maybe Phil hasn't got to the back of that. It's difficult to see the page numbers on the little drip forms up until page 160.
Sorry, Paige, we're having trouble with hearing you.
The page number.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
table
I know.
53.
I've trouble seeing them.
Okay.
150.
165.
Okay, this is this table.
So the recommendation will change to read.
I just wanted to, you haven't said it. So,
The council.
Yeah, no, that won't happen. If you do this work, that'll alleviate a lot of that problem.
Okay.
So after the end of recommendations that have been adopted, further working within budgetary constraints, grant funding opportunities, and discussions with transport partners, or whatever you want to call them, affiliates.
Yeah, strategic partners or agencies.
Partners. The inclusion of options from Table 1, FM3, FM7, FM9, whatever you want to say.
FM8, which includes national parks.
And FM8?
Yeah,
Yeah,
7,
that
8 and
includes-
9.
Yeah.
7, 8 and 9. 3, yes, 3, FM7, FM8 and FM9.
If there's a finishing word there.
Funding opportunities, strategic agencies, the inclusion of options table 1.
Some of those works we won't be able to do without authorisation from National Parks or RMS.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'd just like to include them in the conversation and see if we can't come to some.
We need their money, Phil.
Money, that's
Yeah. Well, I just dropped it on us, haven't I?
Any further comment around that? If not, would somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Wells, secondly Councillor Gilbert. And it will read, on the motion of Councillors Wells and Gilbert, the draft floodplain risk management study and draft floodplain risk management plan, its recommendations be adopted. Further working within budgetary constraints, funding opportunities and strategic agencies, the inclusion of options within Table 1, FM3, FM7, FM8 and FM9 be undertaken. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 6, please.
Councillors, I have a draft policy for public balancing groups. Council Rose, this is our draft policy, given 28 days, and it's regarding the 11 grades and groups that we have throughout our LGA. They're probably in disarray, they require a lot of maintenance and repairs, and the policy outlines that council will put in 30% of the cost for those replacements, and that the landowner provides 70% of that cost, and then keep them ongoing. The background, my understanding is that this was brought to a council workshop back last year, where you made that decision. So I need a policy in place to ensure that the landowner is fully aware of the consequences with the grids and threats.
Okay. Any comment?
And no further grids or gates go in.
That's what the
Only on
policy says.
application,
Yeah.
most likely.
And
Any-
I think we're being very generous at 30%.
Each grade will roughly cost about 11,275, as indicated in the report there. So our cost, is probably
It's
about
3,000.
3,000.
True, but I think we're being very generous to the private landowner who wants a grid or a gate.
There's two ways to look
I
at it.
know there is, yeah, I understand that.
So initially, in part of the investigations, I saw that in the old Murrumbidgee Shire days, there was no register of such policies. In Murrumbidgee Shire, there was a policy, and really I need to mitigate these together to become one. And the 11, I've inspected probably about 7 out of the 11, and they're not fit for purpose.
Correct. I'd say an option should be for removal and fence the road themselves, so. No, they are bloody dangerous. I've lost friends on these grids. There's two friends killed on a grid at John O'Grady, and they are dangerous. And then there was another one down on Murrumbidgee Road. He was killed. They are bloody dangerous. I like to see the removal of these gates and grids on these roads.
Well, I think the fact that no new ramps or grids shall be approved for construction
I
on
saw that,
both Melbourne
yeah.
roads under council's control is pretty.
So a property owner will apply,
Yep.
and we will make that decision
Yep.
on that application.
Yeah,
As you can see,
but
there's
an encouragement to phase them out is more important to me, because of a friend that died on one on Murrumbidgee Road and another friend who died. I know it wasn't in our council area, which is very lucky, but two killed that day.
Well, them will end up having public gates.
No, they fence.
Yeah, the farmer will have to fence.
The farmer will have to fence.
So, as it stands at the moment, the motion would read that the draft public gates and grids policy be placed on public exhibition for a period of 28 days with a further report to council upon completion of the exhibition period in accordance with section 160 of the Local Government Act 1993, public notice and exhibition of draft local policy. So, are you happy with that as it stands? And if we find that there are issues that arise from the public exhibition of this, then I guess we can revisit. Are you happy with that?
Yes, we're actually trying to come up with a policy.
We are, and it's important
It's a
that we
starting
do.
point.
Yeah. Councillor Smith.
These are council roads and these grids go across council roads, so why isn't council assessing them? And if they needing repair, bringing it to the attention of the responsible landowner?
Councillor Smith, because we didn't have a policy in place.
Now we do.
We will have.
You had a policy in old Murrumbidgee, but you can see in the attachments and the plans that the majority of the grids and grates were in the old part of Murrumbidgee.
And the last line in the previous Murrumbidgee one read, council's long-term goal shall be for the fencing of all dedicated roads with a view to the ultimate elimination of ramps grids on dedicated public roads. So this is a start point, this is a policy, we're moving towards that. Okay, would somebody like to? Sorry.
If we do that, is that if that's council's stance, whilst before we adopt it, you might just actually adopt that at the end of it, somewhere within the policy before it goes on display.
Yeah, why are we financing 30%?
Is that your ultimate desire is to remove all grids?
Yes.
Right, so that line can go into this policy, but it still allows, but our ultimate desire is. So at the end of the day, Tom will inspect, he will speak to the owner, they'll say you've got to replace it or you've got to do heavy maintenance on it. They may decide at that time that they would prefer to remove it.
The policy does indicate that if a new landowner takes over the land and is not prepared to maintain the grids and grates, at their cost, council will remove that grate and gate. So the policy indicated, the policy covers us that the landowner is totally responsible for the grids and grates. And we will be inspecting them on a yearly asset register to ensure that they're maintained correctly. And you can see from the pictures of how poorly they've been maintained.
Yes.
So under the last paragraph in the purpose of the policy that Tom has written, insert that council long-term shall be.
It says council's long-term goal shall be. Council's long-term goal shall be for the fencing of all dedicated roads with a view to the ultimate elimination
Yes.
of ramps/grids.
And gates.
Ramps/grids/gates. Oh, sorry, and gates on dedicated public roads. Okay. Would somebody like to move that, please? Move Councillor Brown, second Councillor Smith. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. All those against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, item 7, please, Tom.
Okay, in our last workshop, we discussed the Murrumbidgee Cemetery Master Plan. I've come back and put together a 10-stage program of the proposed master plan, and hopefully we could deliver something in the next financial year of 22-23 with the conceptual master plan to proceed to detailed design and obviously allocate around 25,000 to start that process and do surface scanning of unmarked graves. That sort of starts our process. There's no year period here. I mean, if we don't allocate any money for the 23, 24 financial year, it's something that we could look forward to within the master plan. But I'd like to get a detailed master plan to get a better understanding of our civil works and our costs. Because our costs are only approximate from a conceptual plan from a landscape architect.
Okay, are there any questions of Tom, please? If not, would somebody like to move? With Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Smith, and it will read, on the motion of Councillor Black and Smith, Council deliver a 10-stage program, with stage 1 of the proposed program to be delivered in the 2022/23 financial year. The conceptual master plan proceed to detailed design, and Council included in the draft budget estimates for the financial year 2022/23 an allocation of $25,000 to allow detailed design and ground surface scanning for unmarked grades. I'll put that to you. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Okay. We will move to the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee's special meeting. Item 8, please. Is there an item 8? No. I guess it would be just the presentation of the financial statements and where we're at.
Well, Council, is really the minutes of the ARIC meeting held last Friday, which actually reviewed page by page draft financial statements, a number of minor alterations to the presentation to the ARIC were made just in some wording changes, but nothing substantial in what's presented financially. As I said, it's still they're in the draft form until such time as the New South Wales Audit Office determines that. And really the committee reported that it's reviewed the draft annual financial statements, special purpose statements and special schedules for the year ended 30th of June 21 and directed such questions as it felt fit to start an external audit, that it has been satisfied with the responses obtained, although further information may be supplied in relation to some questions. It has taken steps to be advised of any significant late changes to the statements, in which case the Chairman will confirm the committee's advice to Council if there are any variations I've seen last week. It is of the opinion that the Council is complying with the accounting standards and external accountability requirements, that the accounting policies and disclosures are appropriate, that the financial statement preparation procedures and timelines are sound, and accuracy of the statements prior to external audit was adequate, including management compliance and representations, significant accounting and reporting issues, significant or unusual transactions, and areas of significant estimates or judgments, and there has been appropriate management sign off. Item 5, it is not aware of any matter that would prevent Council from executing the certificates required under Section 413 of the Local Government Act, which were the statements by councillors and management that you've previously discussed, and 6, that it commends the finance managers and their staff the timely preparation of the statements.
That's you, Vicky.
Well, actually, I thank my staff.
Congratulations.
Once again, it's been difficult. That the audit staff aren't on the ground in the office. One of our audit partners is actually still in Malaysia, so the one advantage of that is that it's very different hours, so it tends to be late nights answering those questions, but that's the presentation by there.
Are there any questions of Vicky, please?
So Vicky, so you prefer to have the auditors leaning over your shoulder and asking things than sending you email after email from you?
Look, certainly the junior people Yes, without an understanding of local government and what this means and what that is. Sometimes the presentation of the information and 3 days later when they come back and say, well, I haven't got this, and go, well, yes, you have. Or you can't have this because you've actually asked for an invoice and actually that's a timesheet item and things like that. So those sorts of things, when they're there on the spot, you can fix at the time and find an alternative. They're looking for X amount of numbers to check. And they're obviously new at it. So, yeah, sometimes that would be easier.
Okay, Councillor Brown.
Vicky, just to you, this is a lot less or more comfortable than what it has been in the last couple of years with employment at Faizan.
Oh, yes.
Because it was quite stressful before, wasn't it? And the changeovers.
It was very stressful before. I'm not saying it's not stressful now, but certainly he's done a mountain of work. And, lots of the background statements and things like that. So it's, very helpful.
Good.
Any further questions or comments regarding this? Thank you, Vicky. Would somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Curti. That the information contained in the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee special meeting minutes be those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. We now move on to some minutes of the ordinary meeting of Heritage Darling Point Committee. And I will assume that they are as they should be. And would somebody like to move that the minutes be noted, please? Can you move Councillor Curti, seconded Councillor Cherwin. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. And the monthly cash and investment report for September 2021.
Again, councillors, this is the point in time. So at the 30th of September, I'll present the consolidated cash position. Cash and investments, $27,131,000, being $2.2 million. Our investments are, it's very difficult. The average interest rates over that
0.001.
Yeah.
1.5 for Bendigo.
And I will note that the chair of ARIC commented that previously we have had term deposits of 3 months, and that's substantially different this year, and that's mainly because the 4 to 6 month type of term is actually financially making a little more than the 3 month figures. So.
Still relatively short term.
Okay. Are there any questions of Vicky, please? If not, would somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Smith. That council note the monthly cash and investment report containing the bank balances and schedule of investments as of the 30th of September 2021. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Great. That's it. Twice a meeting. Thank you for your attendance.
Ruth, can I take you right back? We passed the minutes, but